This is absurd as the Memphis Grizzlies season is now come to an end. Talks around a potential superstar joining forces with Ja Morant. It's been in the talks for the past 2 years about the Grizzlies wanting to send some picks along with a trade to get Kevin Durant. That all happened back in 2023. The Grizzlies, they said they were prepared for that. It never happened. Now talks are ramping up again immediately after the Grizzlies just got swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder. What's going on, everybody? Jared Alator with another episode of Grizzlies Digest, bringing you the latest news, rumors, and everything Grizzlies related. If you find yourself here with your Grizzly video watching, you can hit that subscribe button and you'll never miss another upload from us. But going into the content now, and this is from Brandon Mao from the Grizzlies SI page. Excuse me if I got that wrong, Brandon. But he goes into if the Memphis Grizzlies are a realistic team for Kevin Durant. So he asks here, could Memphis attempt to team up Durant with Morant? And would the Grizzlies even feel this move would get them over the hump to being a championship contender? Following a disappointing playoff showing, the Grizzlies have a lot of uncertainty heading into the offseason after firing longtime coach Taylor Jenkins late in the season and an overall regression from Morant. They would have to put up a package together centered around Desmond Bane for Durant if they want to retain Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. So, Jaren Jackson Jr. has made it pretty clear he wants to stay with Memphis. And whether or not he gets that super max and that all-NBA recognition whenever the season's all said and done, it's remained to be seen. But nonetheless, Jaren Jackson wants to be a Grizzly. Now, for everybody else, it's still up for a question mark, and we're going to take a look at that in just a few moments. But going into how the Grizzlies season ended very ugly. Ended with Lou Dort undercutting Ja Morant, and he had to miss Game 4. Ja said, basically, if he was out there, would have been more competitive. He could have helped make it a 2-2 series, and who knows what would happen going back to Game 5. But you've had talks like this in the past with Kevin Durant. It really heated up at around the trade deadline in 2023, if you Grizzly fans remember that, but never happened. And he ended up with the Phoenix Suns. But now, you got this. Right? Just a few hours after the Grizzlies get eliminated. And then Brennan goes into how if it would actually be a good fit. Well, Desmond Bane and Devin Booker, he says, wouldn't be an ideal matchup. How Devin Booker is this star. Stephen A. Smith once called him Kobe Bryant, I guess. But either way, he doesn't think that Devin Booker and Desmond Bane would be an ideal fit with each other. Now, that remains to be seen. Now, Phoenix is definitely going to make some more moves besides having to get rid of Kevin Durant, because it's obvious that from what we've seen in the NBA media and from what Durant's body language is like, it's clear he's not going to be a Phoenix Sun anymore. Now, that's almost a guaranteed fact. But for Memphis to get him, you'd have Morant, you trade Bane. I'm not sure if Jackson will be included. I mean, Durant's in his last 2 or 3 years, let's just be honest. He wants to end somewhere, and all these reporters, that they always say, we're just one, or these GMs, they say they're just one Kevin Durant away from a championship. And Zach Kleiman said basically how we're not close. And how maybe a Kevin Durant would be a huge impact for the Memphis Grizzlies going forward. But you got Ja Morant, you've got Kevin Durant, you trade away Desmond Bane, you maybe trade away Clark, Aldama, Kennard, Vince Williams. So what does that leave? I mean, that leaves Jalen Wells, Zach Edey, Jaren Jackson. Would that be your starting five? It's a pretty big starting five, but it's a starting five, no doubt. So you get into some of the exit interviews that we saw. Luke Kennard, whose contract is up, on his future and what he hopes for. Not really worried about it right now, to be honest with you. When the time comes, having conversations, I've loved every second I've been here. Yeah, I mean, Luke Kennard, when he's on his game, he's on his game. I mean, he's one of the more consistent sharpshooters in the league whenever he's on it. But he kind of showed time and time again how he had this slump that he could never get out of at the most critical time during the season. So whether or not Zach Kleiman gives him another chance, I mean, that's up to him. But he did go through a slump that, was kind of hard to look in the opposite direction. So that's what's going on with Luke Kennard. Here's Santi Aldama on his potential contract this offseason. He says, "Me and the team have a great relationship. I love it here. You guys know that. Hopefully we'll have good conversations about that soon." All right. Zach Kleiman on Jake LaRavia. And I've been on this ever since he got traded, right? Zach Kleiman says, "I think we should have picked up Jake's team option. The mistake was there. I think Jake could have helped us down the stretch." And he was a regular part of this rotation before he went and got traded. He's now a Sacramento King. And he's had comeback games. I mean, he had one literally against Memphis. And that was one of his best games as a Sacramento King. And he's had other pretty good performances, pretty solid performances with them, but he doesn't have the same level of grit and identity with Sacramento compared to Memphis. He had some identity here in Memphis, and now he's with Sacramento, and now his performances are just kind of up in the air sometimes. But he had something with Memphis. He was a young piece. He was a part of the regular rotation, like I just said, and he really could have been used down the stretch for this season, and I even think for the future, because he'd come in, he would drive inside, he was fearless, he would find the open man, and he plays solid defense as well. I mean, he was the type of player that you need coming off the bench, and it's really hard to ask for those kind of guys nowadays. And I think Jake LaRavia was a big part of that, but unfortunately, he was traded at the trade deadline. But that's going to do it here for this video. Make sure you comment on this video. Comment on what you think. If Kevin Durant is actually a good fit for here, as you actually hear my dogs barking in the background, is Kevin Durant a good fit for the Memphis Grizzlies? And if not, who would be? Because it's clear that Zach Kleiman, he's going to make a lot of changes this offseason. You can like this video. If you like this video, comment on this video, what I just said, share this video, and also please subscribe to this video so you never miss another upload from us. We're a young channel, but we're growing ever so quickly. Jared Alator, thank you so much for tuning in, and of course, peace.